by looking at something, you can say, that was created by life. And what are some of the characteristics of life? I mean, you don't mean to say invented by beings with intelligence, do you? I mean, you're not making an argument for intelligent design. They are. They've backed into the argument for intelligent design. They have backed right up into it, bumped into it, and said, oh, what's that? It hit me in the back. Oh, that's intelligent design. That's what hit you in the back. That thing in your back, that's called intelligent design. We can make this as complex as we'd like, or we can make it simple. Here's a simple explanation. If you're walking along a road and you've never seen this object before, ever, let's say that you're prehistoric, let's say that you are human 300 years ago, and you're walking around and you come upon a disc-shaped object on a table, and it has cheese and tomato sauce and some meats and some vegetables on it, and it's sliced into kind of triangle-shaped slices. But there's no one around. At 300 years, do you walk in and go, wow, that's some random mutation? You smell the garlic and the tomato sauce and the meats, or do you go, oh, someone cooked a thing and I don't know what it's called. It's pizza. Your eyes looked at that and said, that's not something that happens in nature. That doesn't happen in nature. That can't happen randomly. But no, billions and billions of years. In a great book called Signature in the Cell, Dr. Stephen Meyer, with whom I've been gifted to talk a few times and have lunch a few times, a deeply humble man. He presents a more complicated scenario, but it's the same scenario. It's pizza said in a different way. Dr. Meyer examines a minimally functional protein in the human body. Minimally functional meaning that it's not a heart cell or a brain cell that has to perform mission critical work. I mean, I understand spiritually in the body, the thumb is no less important than the brain. Apostle Paul teaches that to us. But minimally functional. He gives the example of a series of cells that are going to make a fingernail. Mission critical if you're falling off a cliff, but at other times not. It would require a 7-chain amino. 7 aminos in a chain to form that protein. That 7-chain amino, in order to come about randomly, they did the math on this. They looked at what is the minimum, the shortest possible interaction between 2 aminos of the right charge to attract one another. What is the minimum? And remember, this has to be mimicked in a lab. What's the fastest they could join? They determined what that is. They looked at the 7-chain amino, and then they calculated the number of aminos that exist in the world. The odds of them meeting in that sequence. And they determined that there is not enough time in the known universe to run 50% of the trials necessary to get to a 1/1000% chance of that happening. But yes, a 120 light year away planet with a molecule on it, you can look at that with the naked eye and say that is the result of life, but not us, not the eyeball, not the human eye, which, by the way, the complexity of the human eye is not solved by time. I just indicated that with this math that Dr. Meyer and his colleagues did in Signature in the Cell. The complexity isn't solved by the amount of trials because there's not enough time to hold the trials to even get a minimally functional cell, or a chain of aminos to form a protein. And you want more fun? Here's the ultimate chicken and egg. What forms proteins? Chains of aminos. Of what are aminos made? Proteins. it always gets back to this decision we have to make. Absolute nothingness created everything, or not. In which case, something existed. But for how long? What would the existence points have been? How would that have happened? See, evolution, as Darwin would have called it, random mutation, it can't solve for creation. It can't solve for the moment that life became. It doesn't solve anything in relation to the neatly structured world in which we live. But yes, the naked eye. The naked eye. 120 light years away. That's it. That's a molecule. There's life up there. There is a fantastic book, and it's entitled God Does Not Exist, but the does not exist is crossed out, replaced with does. And I'm going to blank on the author's name because it just inspired to talk about this. But he references an experiment done in a lab in England. And this is fun because it was a retiring scientist. And he as in, I think it was Oxford, but he had this lab because he was retiring. He could do whatever he wanted. You know, hey, so here's some funny money, play with it. So he'd always heard this saying, you've heard it too. Enough monkeys and enough keyboards, typing enough words, and eventually you get a Shakespearean sonnet. The notion is that the random typing away will eventually produce, you know, something useful, or a Shakespearean sonnet. So he decided to put that to the test, and he got permission to do this. So he was able to acquire, with the university money, he was able to acquire some primates. And I think they're chimpanzees. And he put them in this lab, and he gave them keyboards and covered the keyboards with plastic so the animals didn't destroy the keyboards, gave them monitors so they could kind of see what was appearing, and then they got treats. Anytime the primates wanted a treat, all they had to do was go down and type away on these computers, and they would get fruit or something that they like to eat. So, hey, the primates figured this out, right? Trial and error. Hey, I get food when I do this. So they would go down and type away. So he did this for a long period of time. I think it was an entire year or something close to that. A whole bunch of trials. Take a moment and think about what is the shortest word in the English language that you can think of right now. Just take a second. Just think about what that is. Got it locked in your mind? What do you think the shortest word that was typed by the primates was? What do you think it was? It never happened. The shortest word in the English language is A or I. A dog. A monkey. I saw a monkey. They didn't succeed in typing a single word because it would require I space or a space. Never happened. It got that man who was an atheist to realize, wait a minute. The DNA in our bodies it's not random. There's something called Shannon information. Shannon information